I look like I have pink Walmart stitched to my head or butt. I don't know. But today we're reviewing Daredevil from 2003. I've only seen this twice. The first time it was to take the note, second time just to refresh my mind because I watched this movie 2 years ago. Thought it was okay. No, I thought it was bad 2 years ago. I watched it recently. I thought, oh, this is pretty okay. It's not as bad as I remember. It's just, I think there are very bad parts of it, and there's like some good parts. And I'll go through. This is like one of the first okay ones I've seen for this series. So let's just get started. Let's get it started in here. Let's start Daredevil 2003. Starring Ben Affleck and his ex-wife. Again, not again. The first new universe time. We are on Earth 0. We're on Earth 701306. We open up on a rat in front of a Catholic church because Daredevil is Catholic, and I think that's something the show does better, is show his faith and how he goes through his religion. And this one is just 3 scenes where he's like, I confess, Father, or Father, Bullseye is after us. So I think the show is definitely better at showing his faith. So Daredevil, played by Ben Affleck, who got his career started by Kevin Smith. I love Kevin Smith movies. We're going to talk about Kevin Smith. I love his movies. I have like 6 of them right there. I'm trying to collect all of them. Let's get back to Daredevil because I want to stay on topic. But he's on top of the cross and he uses his grappling hook and he just falls on the ground. It's kind of funny. But we go back to when Matt Murdock was a child and he gets beat up by other kids. Matt's dad, he is a boxer. And Matt is like, Dad, do you work for a big crime boss? The dad's like, no, I don't. Don't become a boxer, become a lawyer, son. And Matt's like, okay. Matt, one day, he comes home from school, and his dad is mugging a guy. So I guess Matthew Murdock was right. His dad's a bad guy. Not nice. So Matt, he's so scared of this. He runs away, and a forklift crashes into a bunch of chemicals, and it goes inside his eye. And the way they use his heightened senses is actually pretty cool. I think the show does it better because the show does everything better. I'll get onto that later. But it's still cool to see how accurate it was. The visuals for how he can see are more realistic than the show. In the show, they only show it once, and he sees the world on fire. But in this, it's like more visually appealing. He can just, with his heightened senses, he can hear everything in the city. He's like, ah! And then, 10 seconds later, he's able to control it because he just can. We have a montage of Matt going through his life as a blind child. And his dad is like, I'm going to get back into boxing. I don't want to be a criminal. And so he starts training again. And Stan Lee! Hey, Murdoch! Stan Lee saved again. So Fallon, who's mentioned throughout the movie, he's like a guy that hires boxers and asks them to lose so he can pay somebody off. He's like, alright, Murdoch, you have to lose. And Murdoch wins because he wants to make his son feel happy. Fallon's like, Urgh! So they beat up Murdoch and they kill him and they throw Rose onto him, which is like a calling card of Kingpin and his team. In this movie, just throughout, it feels just so similar to Batman. So we go back to the church in the past still, and Matt is in like a bath so he can have all the voices silent, and he gets ready for the day. We see our first instance of Matt using his like hearing abilities, and he finds out that this guy is guilty but still loses the case. In this scene we're introduced to Foggy Nelson, played by Jon Favreau, who will be the director of Iron Man 1 and 2 and act as Happy in the MCU. Matt Murdock, at night he's like, alright, this guy got away with it. So he gets in his Daredevil suit, goes out, and he goes to a bar that the place is in. He fights all the people there. The guy says that the Kingpin really had his back in that court case. The soundtrack in this movie, best part about it. I'm gonna be honest. Everything else is okay. The soundtrack is amazing. Most of the songs are Evanescence. Chef kiss. Anyways, Matt kills the guy by having a train run over him.
Hey, that light at the end of the tunnel, guess what? That's not heaven. I'm killing you, I'm killing you. That's the C train.
It's really horrible. It's really horrible. This is very mean. In the show, he doesn't kill anybody, from what I can remember. So rude. Anyways, we go to later that night, and we meet Yurik, who, in the show, is a much better character. In this, he has, like, 2 scenes. I like it better in the show. Yurik is like, alright, I got this theory that there is a Daredevil, and he throws down his cigar, and it's the double D's. Double D's, yeah, they come out. The next morning, Matt has a confession with the father, and the pastor has a line saying, "A man without fear is a man without hope." The movie uses the man without fear a lot more than the show, I noticed. Foggy reads the newspaper and he's scared of the Daredevil, and as they're talking, Foggy just puts mustard into Murdock's drink. It's kind of rude. Elektra walks into the cafe, and Matt starts to go after her instantly for some reason. She's mad ableist, I'm not gonna lie. She's like, "Oh, sorry, are you blind? I'm so sorry." And then she leaves. She doesn't like blind people. So Matt is like, alright, I gotta follow this lady, because I love her so much. So he follows her. And then, she starts fighting him.
I don't like being touched.
Why don't you tell me what you do like, and we'll start there.
And right now, she still thinks he's just a normal blind guy. That's all she thinks right now. It's pretty messed up. It's pretty funny, but it's also messed up. It's also kind of cringy. It's very cringy. It's like, Elektra wins the fight. Don't know why they fought. And we go to Fisk building. And Fisk is like, we gotta hire somebody. We gotta hire somebody to get Elektra. Gotta get in control. We gotta kill the Nachios family. We just gotta deal with it. We gotta call Bullseye. So we go to Bullseye, and he's played by Colin Farrell. And he's much better as the Penguin. This is a horrible role for him. Bullseye's powers is that he can't miss. He's like Hawkeye, but a villain. So he's still a loser. You know, that bullseye on top of his head is probably the stupidest thing ever. You don't need that. You don't... Sorry. He's running amok, alright? He killed a guy with like 5 paper clips. He killed an old lady with a peanut because she was a little annoying. This guy, he's serious business. He's really messed up. So Daredevil, he's just perched on a rooftop and he's listening. And he comes across a guy that's mugging another guy about the Kingpin, and Daredevil beats him up. He beats him up because of the Kingpin. And the little kid is like, "Are you about to kill me?" And Daredevil's like, "I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy." And he walks out of there saying, "I'm not a bad guy." Matt is invited to a ball, and Foggy wants to be his plus one because they're supposed to be best friends. And that is another thing I like about the show, is that it shows that Matt and Foggy are friends. In this, they just seem like they're forced together. In the show, they seem like they actually care about each other. And when Matt takes off his glasses, I think he looks like John Barrowman, who plays Captain Jack in Doctor Who. I actually met the guy. He's very fun. Matt says that he has no hope with Elektra because she's out of his league, which he can't even see her, so he wouldn't know that, you know? And he's just walking in the middle of the street, and Elektra meets up with him. They go to the top of a building, and she's like, "Look at this necklace. My mom gave it to me when she died." Matt predicts that it's gonna rain because of his senses, and with the rain, he's actually able to see Elektra. Matt hears people getting mugged in the background. I feel like this scene is so messed up because he's like, "I gotta go," and Elektra's like, "No, you're gonna stay." That guy's probably dead. Matt, you couldn't resist shame. That's your ex-wife, by the way. Matt wakes up in bed without Elektra. He wakes up with the note, with the letter to the ball. And he's like, "Guess I gotta go to the ball now." And at the ball, Yurik is there, and he's like, he's a freaking family member. He's a freaking extended family member just sitting there. He's like, "Y'all hear them conspiracy theories about them Daredevil?" He's just telling everybody in there about it. It's like he can't stop talking about this one thing. Fisk shows up, and Foggy and Matt start talking to him. Foggy's like, "Do you want to be our lawyer?" And Matt's like, "No, this guy's a bad guy." And Fisk is like, "No, I'm not." Fisk says that nobody's innocent, which is sometimes true. And Matt goes up to see Elektra. Outside of there, Bullseye steals a motorcycle and heads towards the party. And Fisk goes up to Elektra's dad and is like, "You know what happened to your wife? It gonna happen to you." Elektra's dad is like, "Oh snap, we gotta get out of here." And they get in the car. Bullseye, he's still going on the street, and he stands on top of a motorcycle and he throws stars at the drivers, and they're like, and then they crash and flip over, and Daredevil shows up and they're like, "Let's fight."
I missed. I never miss.
And the CGI is pretty horrible. It's 2003, so I'm like, it's at night, so I'm like, all right, let's not be too harsh. Like in the last review, the movie came out in 2009. CGI was amazing. 2003, I expected this movie to probably be rushed, and yeah, so CGI is bad, but how much can I complain? So Daredevil throws his freaking baton at Bullseye. Bullseye catches it, and then the motorcycle that Bullseye used explodes. And he's like, Daredevil's like, "Ah!" And Bullseye throws the baton at Elektra's dad, and he's dead now. And Elektra's like, "No!" And she tries to shoot Daredevil, but he gets away because he's the main character. At the funeral for Elektra's dad, everybody shows up, the whole cast, and they play Evanescence, and it's like, "I'm so tired of being here, surrounded all by my childish fears." Except it sounds good. Matt is like, "You can't go for revenge, Elektra. That's bad." And Elektra ignores him. Like, it's like they got divorced or something. I don't know. Yurik gives money to a scientist to move around the baton, and he twists the thing to make it into his walking stick, and Yurik is like, "It's Matt Murdock is Daredevil? What?" Bullseye breaks into the Fisk's tower somehow, and Bullseye is told that he has to kill Elektra next. And if he wants to kill Daredevil, he could just do that. Kingpin doesn't really care about that guy. Yurik goes up to Matt and he's like, "Yo, Kingpin killed your entire family. You gotta go get after him.
How can you see into my eyes like open doors?
And then we get another Evanescence song. It's only been like 5 minutes, I swear. And she's like fighting sandbags. She's like, I hate sandbags. And she rips them. It's very hardcore. Elektra finds Daredevil as Daredevil's looking for Bullseye, and they start fighting. And she like stabs his shoulder, and she takes off the mask. She's like, Matt Murdock? Oh no! No! Oh man! And she's sorry, and then she fights Bullseye. In the last scene, he asked for a suit. He didn't get that. He still got the trench coat and the weird bullseye on his head. He does that. She throws her Ninja Turtle thing at him, and he catches it, and he throws it back, and her hand's broken. And he gives her a bad paper cut, and then stabs her in the chest, and then she dies. And Bullseye's like, huh? He's the most annoying character in this movie, I swear. We go back to the beginning of the movie, where Matt is falling from the ceiling. He's like, oh. Bullseye walks into the church, and they start having a pretty cool action scene. Like, I'll just give you the highlights. Batman hints for some reason, like bats come through the side. I was so confused. I'm like, why are there bats in your chapel? Bullseye is like thrown into a mural, and then he starts catching all the glass, and then he throws it at Daredevil like it's the Matrix. It's kind of cool. I wish the whole movie had action scenes like that, but I guess you could only have one. But Bullseye starts slamming stuff, so Daredevil's like, ah! The guards show up, and they shoot Bullseye's hands, and he's like, my hands! He gets thrown out the window and lands on Yurik's car. He's probably dead. See, that was a wink. And then Daredevil, he's like, I'm gonna go to Fisk's tower. And Fisk, he takes off his dress outside, and he starts fighting Daredevil. It's actually pretty cool, because I think this guy, he's not as good as, he's nowhere to where Vincent D'Onofrio's best, I think probably the best villain in the MCU, just because he plays that character so well. This guy, not as good. So Kingpin finds out that Daredevil is Matt Murdock, and he's like, and then Matt is like, I gotta do a callback, and he makes the water system go down, and so he can see Kingpin, and they start fighting. Pretty cool. And he breaks his legs. He breaks Fisk's legs, and his legs are broken. And then turns out Matt decides he's done killing after all that he's done throughout this movie. He's like, I don't kill people. Well, I mean, I guess Batman kills people, but he's a bad guy to Zack Snyder. Ben Affleck does another, like, Batman quote. He says, justice is served. I'm like, what are you doing? Foggy reads the newspaper. He's talking about the alligators in the sewers. I don't know why his character was put down to, you heard about the alligators in the sewers? Like, what kind of character is that? Matt walks out of the cafe and he goes up to a rooftop and he's like touching a thing in Braille, and it's the Electra's good luck charm. Yurik writes a paper about who Daredevil is, and he's like, nah. And then Daredevil's like, the movie is over and I'm Daredevil. And then the movie ends, but there's a post-credit scene where Bullseye kills a fly, because we need a sequel. Hints it never happened. I'm sorry to all those people. I thought this movie was pretty okay. It's pretty bad, but it was fun. The last half was. The first 40 minutes, I almost fell asleep. Then the last 40, I think there's 2 acts. There's the first act and the second. Because nothing happens in the middle. I don't even think there is a middle, because he meets Elektra like 5 times, and then they fight like 5 times for the last act. The last act has like 10 fight scenes. So it's a mess of a movie, but I still think it's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun movie, and I think that Ben Affleck should return for Secret Wars, because that would be so cool. This movie, where did I put it on my list? Let me look at my Letterboxd. I put this one right below the first X-Men, and in between, I put it in between X-Men 1 and The Last Stand. So I think it's better than The Last Stand. You know, in that review, I got pretty mad. I got pretty... So, hope you all enjoy your day. The next review I'm going to be doing will be something much, much better. Spider-Man 2. Hope you all enjoy your day. Bye!